The NFL Combine is complete, which means more mock drafts. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we will be doing a live Cleveland Browns mock draft. And what I mean by that is we will be going through PFF Live as it picks for a lens, seeing who is available. So be sure to leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts on our decisions, who you would like to see the Browns take at certain selections. And while you're at it, subscribe to the Tracy Take, tackle that bell to get notified when new videos come out. And Ryan, let's pull up PFF here. So
Let's do it.
we already have Tennessee coming off the board, Cam Ward as well. So now if you're Cleveland, so many different routes they can go to. We even talked before this on like, should we include a Myles Garrett trade? And we're going to keep that at bay as of right now. But Ryan, even with that being said, let's say they keep Myles Garrett and they don't trade him. I think an Abdul Carter running mate, I think would be great.
Oh, yeah.
And since the best thing for this team. Yes, they need a quarterback, absolutely. But I also think though too, is there's so much more that this team needs. I think they can go potentially the Sam Darnold Vikings route and maybe take a flyer on a second string QB like I mean Justin Fields or Mac Jones or I don't know Zach Wilson. Like those are all
Yeah.
horrible
Or
options.
Sam
But
Darnold himself if
or
they wanna
Sam
pay
Darnold
that money.
himself, I don't think they
Yeah.
can afford him with the cap
Yeah.
space that they're in.
That's
As of
fair.
today, according to Over the Cap, they're still negative 22. And so I could maybe see them going Travis Hunter if they end up moving on from some guys like potentially Greg Newsome as well to clear up some cap space or maybe even Denzel Ward or like whoever they would end up moving on from. But I think Abdul Carter is going to be the route that they end up going here.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think even if Myles Garrett does stay, the best thing for this team is just to continue to solidify that defensive line. They did trade Zadarius Smith as well mid-season. And so I think you get Myles Garrett, that running mate, you go try to find quarterback somewhere else in what free agency, you make a trade. They have
Yeah.
a ton of draft capital. And so while you'd have to inherit some of his contract, I think Kirk Cousins would be a really interesting one. You'd have to clear up more cap space, but I think that Abdul Carter is the correct route here. So
Yeah.
kind of moving on, continuing to go. Ooh, Ted McMillan went 3 overall over Travis Hunter.
To
That's
the
an interesting
Giants.
pick. Yeah, to the Giants. I mean, I don't mind that
Well,
pairing
the
with
thing,
him and
I
Malik
guess
Neighbors.
if Giants go Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, I could see that. But it's the
Yeah.
Browns video. Let's move on back to the Browns here. So a lot of different routes I think they could end up going here. I kind of like, Darius Alexander would be interesting to Demetrius Knight, Colson
Mhm.
Loveland, Malik Manor, TJ Sanders, Tyreek Williams. I kind of like all these picks that they have here as of right now. Jack Besh, Xavier Watts
Yeah.
could be interesting. So to me, what I'm thinking as of right now, I mean, they do need some more receivers, but I also think too, it's just trying to help out that offensive line as well. I mean, they do have Joel Patonio, they have Ethan Pochich, Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin.
Yeah.
Guy that is hitting free agency for them is going to be Jedrick Wills.
Jedrick Wills. Yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to re-sign him, but at the same time, though, too, Dwan Jones is the guy. But Dwan Jones, he's coming off a broken leg, but also too, I wonder how. I
He's
also
also
he's too big.
primarily a right tackle. In
Well,
that system. I know he's played a little bit of both, but
yeah,
he was primarily a right tackle from what I've read. I think to me, the best offensive lineman on the board is Donovan Jackson. What he was able to do at left tackle there for Ohio State this past season, having never played left tackle before, really showed off his athleticism. I think he can play left tackle at the next level, but could be a guard there. If you want to go like the true tackle route, I think Ariante Ursary is also a really solid player there as well.
potentially. I don't know. I'm also thinking too. Tyler Booker is there as well, and and they have so many picks that I mean, there's going to be a lot of offensive linemen. I think they're going to be
Yeah.
taken here. Let's just go back. Who's going to be best available here? Because it's not like I dislike any of these guys here.
Yeah.
Knight, Colson Loveland. Do you also maybe get another running mate and beef up that interior as well?
Um, I think it's possible. You could stick in Ohio and get Tyreek Williams. I mean, that
Yeah.
would be you'd have 4 down linemen and you'd have like 1,500 pounds on the field. But
And they can all get after the quarterback there too.
yeah.
I I'm indifferent. There's not really too many options actually that I dislike here when it comes to this
Yeah.
team. So
Um, I I will say, I think there is something about maybe going and just getting the left tackle that you want in Ariante Ursary.
Okay, I like it.
I think maybe you're drafting him over some guys that might be like slightly, I say slightly better football players, but I think he is a true left tackle. You need that. You have another tackle. Your interior can remain intact for a little bit longer. You can also invest in your interior later in the
Well,
draft.
and I
And
also think too, if people are saying that this might be a little early for Ursary, I don't think he's making it to your 3rd round pick. I don't think he's
oh
making it to
no,
your
not
next
even
pick. So if
close.
this is a guy that you like, I like him over Marcus Bowe, Ozzie Trapillo. I like him over Cameron
Yeah,
Williams. You know, Williams' ceiling might be a little bit higher, but
yeah,
I think the Browns are not looking for like high potential right now. I think they're looking for like, can you
yeah,
play left tackle? And that's what
yeah.
Ursary can do.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree.
let's
So
do that.
let's go Ursary there. Um, I mean, just kind of continuing on, see who comes off the board. Uh
Colson
Colston Loveland
Loveland,
falling all
Jaden
the way to like
Higgins.
46. Wow.
I could see it. Restrepo. I know Browns fans like to see the Michigan guy fall a
Y-
little bit here. Okay,
Yeah.
that's right. Thomas, Josiah Stewart, JT Tuimoloau, Jordan Birch went to the Kansas City Chiefs right before this here. Omar Normlot. I will say that running back position right there, Dylan Sampson, to me is a spot. Your boy Donovan Jackson still available too. Benjamin Morrison still on the board. Travion Henderson still on the board. Very interesting amount of guys here that I think could still be available.
Oh
Amazing value.
man.
Shoot, Cameron Williams is still on the board too.
I'm half tempted to take Donovan Jackson and just double up on that offensive line, get two powerful offensive linemen, and then you can go and get a really good running back here at pick 94 or 103.
Well,
Uh
and this is what's interesting. This, I mean, Joel Petonio is 34. Ethan Pocic is 30. Wyatt Teller is 31.
yeah.
But I feel like the Browns have invested a lot in the offensive line, especially on the depth pieces, a lot over the past couple years. But they do need running back though. And to me,
Yeah.
like I'm keep Trayvon Henderson in town, Dylan Sampson in town. I like Trayvon Henderson.
I like Dylan Sampson slightly more. We went with mine on my suggestion on the last pick, so we can go Travion Henderson.
Let's go
Travion,
Trayvon Henderson. He can be
yeah,
that 3 down back guy for them.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I like that pick. Keep the Ohio State guy in Ohio there. So, I mean, next up we can kind of go through. So they have edge tackle and then a running back. I mean, I don't know if it's too early to maybe look into seeing what quarterbacks are on the board. I do think Dylan Gabriel is an intriguing one in his own right. Uh, I like Jalen Milrow would be interesting also. Just pairing him back up with who's the offensive coordinator that was at Alabama, Coach Jalen
Tommy
Milrow.
Reese, is that
Tommy
his name?
Reese, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you could. I Let's see who else is on the board because they are going to have a bunch of picks coming up here. They have another pick coming up
yeah,
here in 9 or 10 picks.
yeah,
And so if you look at that, Jeffrey Bossa, Anthony Belton, Trey Harris would be interesting. Harold Fannin, Jared Wilson. Jared Wilson could be the spot where he's going to be the best center coming up here. And if I go look at Ethan
yeah.
Pochis's, Pochis has been pretty solid though. So,
CJ West would be interesting.
ooh, that's the guy. Yep.
CJ West, go
It's
snag
saying
the
it, and I think this is going to be the TJ West is not going to leave day two now, especially two. You go look at his numbers, you go look at his
yeah,
production. I think so. You have Abdul Carter there, you have CJ West uh, alongside in that defensive interior. And if I go to and look at the depth chart overall for this team, I mean, they have Dalvin Tomlinson there, Shelby Harris, but not too much even behind them nearly as well. So I really like that overall development and the value
okay,
that TJ West would bring here. And I'm biased. I'll say fully disclaimer. I'm a Indiana fan. So
yeah.
big fan of TJ West. I'll be following him
No,
throughout
I think
the entire rookie year.
he's a really solid player. He had a really good showing at the combine and at the Shrine Bowl. He had a really good showing all year.
Yeah.
So I like him there in the middle between Miles Garrett and Abdul Carter. So
Yeah.
let's go get CJ West. They're picking here in just 9 picks. So
Well, and so
I'm
this
not.
is where I like your quarterback coming off the board.
I
So
was just about to say Dylan Gabriel or Jalen Milrow. I think are the two.
well, or a Jackson Dart maybe either. I mean, this is where you're kind of picking with based off your overall feel. Like I'm
Yeah,
indifferent, but I think then too as well, the Browns have so many picks in day 3. Now I will say they do have a gap between this pick and their next pick.
yeah.
165 is their next pick here. So
So
you would be starting off day 3. I could see it being kind of similar where they in this scenario, they have once again all night really kind of think about who all is going to be taken there. Um,
I do think Jackson Dart is probably the guy that helped himself out the most throughout this pre-draft process so far. Dylan Gabriel has done a good job as well. The biggest thing with Dylan Gabriel is just the things he can't help. The fact that he's 6 foot, 200 pounds, like he's small. Where
yeah,
Jackson Dart is a better athlete and he's big. He has a much better arm. Dylan Gabriel can definitely spin it. Like he's not like a Mac Jones coming out, but Jackson Dart has a top tier arm. So I guess I lean Jackson Dart. Jalen Milrow, I would love to reunite him with Tommy Reese. I think that'd be a great story. I just don't see it right now for Jalen Milrow.
I I
NFL.
I think if you're going to take a flyer on somebody, I think it would be Jackson Dart, and Jackson Dart is not going to be there by their next pick, and
No.
this is early 4th round outside the top 100 picks, and so
Okay.
love to hear your guys' comments on why we should pick somebody else. But to me, I think if you're just looking at arm talent, I think Jackson Dart of all these guys is going to be next
Okay.
on
Let's
my
do
board.
Jackson Dart and keep letting it roll.
So
So
little while here until our next pick, but let's see who keeps coming off the board. JJ Pegas, Tate Rutledge, Ashton Gianti to my Falcons. Riley Leonard comes off the board there. Barrett Carter's Alexander. Let's see
did you
here.
see Ahmed Hassanin at the combine? So
I
they
might
had
have this. Yeah, there's a lot of
he
guys there. I'm trying to remember.
no, so he's the edge rusher from Boise State. He gets up to the one the figure eight drill and he's like pounding on his chest, like yelling at the guy, like getting him all hyped up. Dude seemed intense, but they were telling a story, and so he's only been playing football for like 6 years. He's like 23, and so
Yeah,
like he found football like right as he was about to graduate high school, learned how to or no, sorry, he didn't even speak English, and then learn how to play football and use football as a way to like get into the United States. I think like it was a wild story.
that's pretty
So
cool. I like that.
uh
Very
Stu
passionate.
stuff you learn about random things when you watch the combine.
Yeah.
So, all right,
Let's
here
yeah, let's review the picks. So Abdul Carter, edge rusher, tackle Arion Theory, running back Travion Henderson, defensive tackle CJ West out of Indiana, go Hoosiers, and then QB Jackson Dart, QB of the future that will win them a Super Bowl. So I think one thing I also haven't seen here is so we haven't addressed out receiver yet or corner. So that's what
yeah.
to me I think is coming up. Let's see who's available here. Oh, there's a couple guys. Tight end also I think would be an interesting one as well.
Um, let's see. Caden
Oh,
Prather is
I
the
like
receiver
that's the one
that
who is calling my name also here as well. Ricky White, Tate. Oh, Ty Felton really all the way down here?
he's a day 2 pick. Like I don't want to necessarily do this like for a lot of guys, but like he's not going to be here at this point. Like so
Well,
I'm
that's
not
what I'm
even
thinking.
really
Like, I would
yeah.
love Tay Felton to go across from Jerry Judy.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I think that
but
would be
like
great.
I don't
Or
think we
pick
should take him just for the reality that he's going to be taken higher. He's in that like early round 3 range, I think for me.
okay. Well,
I
yeah,
think this is massively underrating him, especially too after he just ran like a 4.31 or something at the combine.
yeah. So that's what I would say. Be like average draft position 201. Like
Mm,
I don't know
yeah.
if I agree with that. Jimmy Horn's another guy though too. That actually could be a legit guy. I think around this time. I was
Jimmy
impressed by him with
Horn.
yeah. So
Yeah. I still
I'm
like
between
Caden Prather a little more.
let's do that then, because
Okay.
I bet they can even double dip too, because the Browns are about to
Yeah.
start running off some picks here.
Yeah. So
So
Caden
we got a
Prather,
receiver.
he's
Oh,
a
go ahead.
big outside, like true X receiver. I think that gives Jerry Judy a lot of flexibility to move around the formation. A guy that beat Will Johnson from Michigan one on one in man coverage and caught a touchdown on him. Not a lot of people can say that in college football. And so I feel like he has the pedigree to come in and potentially be a steal there in like late round 5. So
Yeah.
here at 180, back on the clock.
So
Um,
Jonah Monaghan or Emory Jones to me are the two guys. double
Mhm.
dipping again at that. Emory Jones, I think, is athletic enough you can move him around. Jonah Monahan. Um, so I those are my 2 initial guys, especially 2 going back. I mean, they were picking again over the next 30 picks. They're picking 4 times.
So Monheim is more of a true center where Jones is gonna kick in to be a guard. Uh, but Monheim can play either guard position. Let's go with the versatility. I like the Monheim's versatility there on that interior.
Okay, let's do that.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, and then now you have the tackle, you have interior guy that has a lot of flexibility. And honestly, there's a chance we'll take another one here relatively soon.
Very
So
likely. And so you do that. Ollie Gordon's still there. Who are some of
yeah,
the secondary guys? Is Jimmy Horn still available here? Actually,
so do wide receiver and corner. Yeah, Jimmy Horn is right here.
Ty Felton still available.
Yeah, I'm
I know,
not considering Ty Felton.
I know.
He's not going to be here.
I'm just playing with you. I'm just playing. So let's do that. Dante Thornton.
I don't see a lot of corners I like at this point.
I almost
Um, Tommy Hill's the only guy that I even know, and even then, it's not always for the best of reasons.
That's fair. Let's go Jimmy Horn here. I think that that's about the right spot. I think he'd
Okay.
be very interesting kind of in this system as well too, because if you're looking at even this depth chart here as well, that receiving room as of right now, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman on the opposite side, but Elijah Moore is a free agent. They do still have David Bell, but he hasn't really been super great overall. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Uh,
a good depth piece, but you can move on from him. So I think
it
Jimmy Horn could be a
And with
guy.
Elijah Moore being a free agent too, I feel like he can kind of step in and potentially fill that role. Maybe not right away. This is a 6th round pick, so let's be real here.
Yeah.
But I think that he could potentially come in and fill that type of role. Maybe just not to that level. So I do like that fit. And then too, you'd have Jerry Judy, Cedric Tillman, Caden Prather, Jimmy Horn Jr. I think that that's a solid group there. A lot of the
Yeah.
day 3 quarterbacks are starting to fall into our lap there if we want to double dip. Ollie Gordon, that's really good value if you want to like totally revamp that running back room. Pair him up with Travion Henderson. Um, I mean, honestly, at this point, it's
What?
just best player available. I feel like we've touched a lot of their needs
Yeah.
that they have.
We have not really gone any sort of secondary overall. So I mean, Dean Clark,
Yeah.
Elijah Clark. I don't think there's any relation there. Um,
We could go Tommy Hill. He's going to be much more of a slot corner for them. Or Jabbar Muhammad, I think it falls into a similar role there as well. Just not going to contribute a whole lot in the run game. Probably not a guy you want to leave like on an island a lot, but I feel like either of those guys I think could potentially come in. They have Greg Newsome, they have Denzel Ward on the outside. Maybe go and get a guy to come in and play the slot.
Let's get Muhammad then as well, because if you're looking at this defensive line that we're constructing, where you have Miles Garrett, C.J. West, and you're gonna have Laken Tomlinson there, and then Abdul
Yeah.
Carter, might be able to just rush 4 a lot with that type of pressure. So help him out.
Okay.
And then also
Yeah.
that too as well, you're just trying to find value guys that could go and fit their system. And sort of that point though, I think that'd be good. So back to back picks here. So let's really see. I think scroll down a little bit here. Let's see who are some of these other guys that might still be available. Teron Reed there would be interesting. Double dip again on
Could get
offensive
Dylan
line.
Fairchild. Jalen Walker's actually going back to school, I read.
Hmm.
Smile Munden might be an interesting one. He was a leader in that Georgia defense. Drafting Georgia defenders is uh, usually hard to go wrong with. I don't know if they necessarily need it, but I know Jeremiah Wusu Koromoa is coming back from that scary neck injury, and so I feel like maybe getting some linebacker depth there wouldn't be awful.
I think that'd
I
be
know,
good, and then also too, Devin Bush is a free agent, as well, so if you're not able to re-sign
okay,
him, so I think that would be good, and then trying to find some other more specific tackles, because I know we did that with Ariantha Ershry, but still wanna get depth there,
yeah.
uh, as well, and
So
so
Holland Pierce is I know him at this point, kind of running out of guys that I do know. But Holland Pierce is just like a massive road grading tackle. Not the greatest athlete, but just I mean he's like 6'8", 360, like just a huge guy.
let's get that
Um,
guy. He's
Okay.
not as big as DeJuan Jones, and so but
No.
still pretty good.
Yeah.
So, let's do that there as we're starting to wrap up, starting to try and,
Yeah.
double dip
And
here. The one more pick.
it
Actually, I think
yeah.
he's Mr. Irrelevant for the Browns.
It might be, but just to kind of start going through and doing the recap here. So Abdul Carter, Ariante Ursary, Travion Henderson, CJ West, getting Jackson Dart there at the top of the fourth. Caden Prather, another outside wide receiver. Jonah Monheim, Jimmy Horn Jr. to potentially replace Elijah Moore. Jabbar Muhammad kind of being that slot corner. Smile Munden, the linebacker from Georgia, and then Holland Pierce, just a massive tackle there from Rutgers. So this is Mr. Relevant. This is the final pick of
Oh,
uh,
perfect.
this.
Big responsibilities. Should they also go quarterback here, just like try and do a Brock Purdy round as
Let's
well?
see. Let's see who's here.
Who's gonna be
Um, Not anybody of interest, to be honest.
should we do DJ Ukulele?
No,
Okay.
he was so bad at Florida State.
He was
Uh,
really bad.
that
Yeah.
was really bad. Um, so Nicholas
Jackson.
Martin is another linebacker. We could go with like another corner if you want here and get like Cam Miller or Mac McWilliams. I think ran decently well. Tommy Hill again, kind of probably be that. No, he might be an outside guy.
Let's get
Get some
Tommy
depth.
Hill. You've been talking
Okay.
about him. Let's get Tommy Hill.
Okay, Tommy Hill. So that is kind of the end of this video. We kind of went through and did the recap, but Browns have a ton of picks. I actually really expect them. We didn't do trades in this mock draft, but the Browns, I think, are going to be one of the teams that might move around the most, just because they have so many picks. That I think it's going to be a really interesting draft that we could see them move around a ton. I also think they can make a lot of moves before the draft. Maybe go to your Falcons, who only have 4 draft picks, and acquire a Kirk Cousins at one point, or maybe even acquire more picks with a Myles Garrett trade. So all in all, I think for the Browns, there's a ton of different ways that they can go. They have a ton of picks, and I'm excited to watch what the Browns do in this offseason.
Well, especially too because it's like they don't have a quarterback or like their quarterback situation is atrocious. So it's like, do they really just say F it? Like this is gonna be the year. Like we're gonna try and get super good at every position except quarterback, and just wait until we're in the financial place to do that. Because the next year, even too, I think the cap situation for Deshaun Watson and whatnot, especially if they restructure his deal and just push some of that money down the road next year, is going to make next year's contract is absolutely wild. I think it's going to be like 81 or 90 million dollars cap hit just from Deshaun Watson. So
Yeah,
close to a third of the projected cap space, and
yeah,
so do they just keep trying to build around it and then hoping that they can make a trade, make a move, or be in a position to get a young guy? So they have the possibility to do that. So, but to your point though, too, they have the draft picks to go and get a guy as well. So they can have Kirk Cousins if they want. I think we're going to be. I think Falcons are going to be going Michael Penix. So maybe we could work out a deal.
yeah. So with that being said, let's go ahead. Let's wrap up this Browns live mock draft here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on what you thought of this video. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.